Hello students, in this video I would be covering indirect tax amendments applicable for December 2023 exams. So whatever changes has been made or notified on or before 31st May 2023 would be applicable for your December exams, guys. So in addition to whatever provisions we already covered for June 2023 exams, I would be covering only the changes which are made applicable for December exams. So I have prepared a reference material where I have given link to my regular study material. All the changes as per this material, that is reference material for amendments, I have highlighted in red color, and wherever I have mentioned the page number, that would be the page number as per my regular study material, guys. So it would be useful for you before watching this if you are keeping my regular study material in front of you. So if there is any minor changes or small changes and all, you can make the necessary updates in your regular study material itself, guys. So let us start with so the first chapter 2. The amendment is with respect to chapter 2, basics of goods and service tax. So there come to the composition scheme. In page number 22, I have given the following persons cannot opt for composition scheme under section 10(1). So there the list of the following people cannot opt for composition scheme, guys. There in point E, which was already an amendment for June exam. Now there is a small change there. What is it? A person who is engaged in manufacture of ice cream, pan masala, tobacco products and aerated water. Then they have added some new products, fly ash bricks or fly ash aggregate. Now with 90% or more fly ash content was there, that is not there. Please scratch it. Whatever I have scratched here with red color, which I have highlighted, you guys also have to make a change in this. Fly ash blocks, bricks of fossil meals or similar siliceous earths, building bricks and earthen or roofing tiles. So if you are engaged in manufacture of any of these products, you are not eligible for composition scheme under section 10 subsection 1, guys. That is which is available for MTR, manufacturer, trader or the restaurant service suppliers. Then it's the same change even in page number 24, that is for the composition scheme under section 10(2)(a). There also, if you are engaged in manufacture of so and so products, you are not eligible for composition scheme. There also you need to just scratch this. With 90% or more fly ash content is there, you just have to scratch it, guys. This minor changes and all you can update in your regular study material only, so that it becomes easy for you when you are studying next time. Then coming to conditions and restrictions under that, there also in this point, you have to just scratch with 90% or more flash content. Please make all this necessary changes in chapter 2. Very small changes, guys. Then similar to this, connected to this, even there is a change in registration topic. Let me just go straight away to that, then come back to the other amendments. Come to chapter 5, guys. Chapter 5, procedural compliance under GST. That is under registration. Come to page number 84. There is a threshold limit. So for exclusive supplier of goods within the state, the threshold limit has been increased to 40 lakh. But for the following suppliers, it is not, 40 lakh is not applicable. It is either 10 lakh or 20 lakh. So there, under third bullet point, suppliers of year, you just need to scratch this. With 90% or more, that point is not there. It is straight away fly ash bricks or fly ash aggregate or fly ash blocks, guys. That's all. Clear? Yes. Even in the table which is given after this, you can observe your what is the threshold limit for the registration for supplier of services, suppliers of ice cream and other edible oil, edible ice, pan masala, tobacco and manufactured tobacco substitutes, fly ash bricks or fly ash aggregate with 90% or more fly ash content. So please scratch that 90% or more fly ash content. That's all, guys. This and all is connected even for composition scheme as well as registration. Very small thing. Yeah, let me get back. Now let us move towards chapter 3. Chapter 3. Yeah. So here under exclusions. So while calculating the value of supply, there are discount which can be excluded from the value of supply as per section 15 subsection 3, guys. So there is a point given to it with respect to that note. This point is connected to clause A. What is it, sir? Any discount which is given before or at the time of supply, if such discount has been duly recorded in the invoice issued in respect of such supply, means if there is any supply, if there is any discount given by the supplier before the supply is made and if it is recorded in the invoice, then that amount can be reduced while calculating the value of supply, guys. Now with respect to the same, in the insurance sector, there is something called as no claim bonus. What is it? We will see. No claim bonus is a permissible deduction under section 15 subsection 3 clause A for the purpose of calculation of value of supply of insurance services provided by insurance company to the insured. This is a discount given by the insurance company to insured, guys, means the person who has taken the policy. Let me explain this with an example. Assume, guys, I have taken an health insurance. I have taken an health insurance policy. Every year I am supposed to pay 20,000 premium. Every year I am supposed to pay 20,000 premium. Now in this year I didn't, you see, when will I use health insurance policy? Only when there is any health emergency or medical emergency. So if there is any medical expenditure I have incurred, the insurance company will be paying it, or I would have paid and it will be reimbursed by the insurance company, guys. Now assume during a particular year there was no medical emergency for me. I didn't incur any medical expenditure, hence I didn't claim any amount under the health insurance policy. So in the next year, what the company will do is they will give you some no claim bonus. As you have not claimed any amount in the previous year, they will give you a no claim bonus, like a discount. No claim bonus. As you have not claimed any amount under this policy in the last year, this year they will give you a no claim bonus. Assume 2,000. So this year I am paying only 18,000 as the premium, guys. I repeat, last year I had paid 20,000. But I didn't use this policy as there was no medical expenditure incurred by me. So this year they are giving me 2,000 discount in the form of no claim bonus. So effectively I am paying how much? 18,000. We call this as net premium. This is gross premium and net premium 18,000. So after no claim bonus, how much net amount I am paying? 18,000. Now for the insurance company, for the services what they are giving, how much they are charging, what is their value of supply? 18,000 or 20,000? It is 18,000, guys. It is 18,000. That is what the clarity is given by way of note. Yeah. So no claim bonus given by the insurance company to the policy holder is allowed to be reduced because this amount will be recorded in the invoice also issued by the insurance company, guys. Is that clear? Yes. And no claim bonus will be given subject to the conditions, provided you have not used the policy during the year, only then they will give the no claim bonus in the upcoming year, where the amount of premium you would be paying would be reduced, guys. Yes, sir. Then coming to chapter 4, input tax credit and computation of GST liability. There, eligibility and conditions for taking input tax credit, which is given in section 16. It has 4 subsections. So in your material, it will be page number 59. Yes, guys. I will just, before going through the changes and all, I will quickly recap this. Okay, I have just given it by way of diagram here. Now, supplier, whenever he supply goods or services to the recipient, he has to supply the goods or services along with the invoice, that is tax invoice. Okay, sir. And on that supply, he will collect the GST and he will deposit it to the government. Okay, sir. Then, so you can observe, first supplier will supply the goods or services along with the invoice to the recipient and collect GST on that supply. Supplier is the one who is liable to pay, but he can collect it from the recipient and deposit it to the government. So supplier will remit whatever GST has collected from the recipient to the government. So this is like second activity. Then he will give the details of his outward supply using his GSTR1 or using invoice furnishing facility when he has opted for QRMP. Who? Supplier. This is third activity. Okay. Once supplier gives the details of outward supply in GSTR1 or using invoice furnishing facility, it will auto-populate to the recipient in his GSTR2A and 2B, guys. Only then he can claim the credit. Now, recipient has to satisfy all this condition if you want to claim the credit. What all those are? Recipient should be registered under GST. Then ITC is reflected in his GSTR2A or 2B. That is only based on the information given by the supplier in his GSTR1 or using invoice furnishing facility. Then recipient has actually received the goods or services. Sir, what if recipient is receiving an installment? Only when he receives the last installment, he can claim the entire ITC. No proportionate claim there. Okay, sir. Then recipient should be in the possession of tax invoice which is issued by the supplier or any other document issued by the supplier. Then the recipient should have furnished GSTR 3B. Means recipient, how will he claim the credit is by filing GSTR 3B. So in his GSTR 3B, he has to give what is my output tax on my outward supply, then claim the credit of input tax, then remaining he will pay through electronic cash ledger. So how will the credit eligible whatever by the recipient will be claimed is through GSTR 3B, guys. Then input or input service or capital goods should be used for business purpose to provide taxable outward supply. Means recipient whatever he has taken as inward supply should be used in his business to provide taxable outward supply. Sir, what for the recipient is outward supply is exempt, means can he claim input tax credit? No, he cannot. Then one more proviso is telling recipient has to pay to the supplier within 180 days from the date of issue of invoice, guys. Means let us take an example. Assume, just a second, supplier has supplied goods to the recipient for 1 lakh. Plus on that GST is 10%, so 10,000. 1 lakh 10,000. And he has sold on credit basis, guys. Supplier has sold the goods on credit basis, so he has given some time to the recipient. But for supplier, the time of supply would be like the date on which he has issued the invoice or due date of issue of invoice. Yes, sir. Assuming it is a goods. So in that case, he is supposed to pay tax to the government. Means if time of supply is falling in July on or before 20th of August, he has to pay the tax to the government. So he would have deposited the tax from his own pocket. Because he has made credit sales, recipient has not yet paid the amount. Yes, sir. Now supplier has deposited the tax out of his own pocket only. He has not yet collected the money from recipient. Now in this scenario, can recipient claim the input tax credit? Yes, because all the conditions are satisfied. Supplier has also deposited the tax out of his own pocket and he has given the details in his GSTR1 or invoice furnishing facility that he has made a credit sales to the recipient. So provided recipient has claimed satisfied all these conditions, recipient can claim the credit. Later, sir, what if recipient doesn't pay to the supplier at all? Then the proviso is telling if recipient fails to pay within 180 days from the date of issue of invoice, then immediately after the 180 days expires, he has to reverse the credit and he has to pay that amount along with interest, guys. So for example, recipient assume he didn't pay at all 1,10,000, he never paid it to supplier. In that case, can recipient still continue to claim the ITC? No, he has already claimed ITC provided he has satisfied all this condition. Now once 180 days period overs, he has to immediately reverse it. So I repeat, so recipient would have already claimed ITC. Yes, sir. Now if 180 days period from the date of issue of invoice is over, still recipient has not paid the amount. In that case, immediately after 180 days, means on the 181st day, he has to add to his output tax liability. And he has to add how much? 10,000. Assuming he has claimed full ITC 10,000, he has to add that to his output tax liability plus 18% interest on it. So from when to when? From the day he has claimed it till the day he actually pay this 10,000. Sir, how will he pay this 10,000? Once 180 days is over, immediately after that, he will file GSTR 3B for any month. So assume 180 days got over on July 15th, guys. July 15, 23. July 15, 23, 180 days is over. Okay. Now for July, he will file GSTR 3B in August. Yes, sir. So immediately in August, he has to, means GSTR 3B for whatever he will file for July, he has to pay this 10,000 along with interest in his GSTR 3B, which he will file immediately after 180 days expires. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Now, sir, what if recipient has paid partially? For example, recipient has paid 50,000 plus 5,000 GST. Remaining 50,000 plus 5,000 GST has not paid. In that case, the recipient has to reverse how much, sir? Only 5,000. Partial amount. How much he has not paid? Only that much along with interest. Along with interest, guys. Means if he has paid partially, only the unpaid amount on that how much is GST, only that much ITC has to be reversed, not the entire ITC, guys. Is that clear? Yes. When will he reverse it? Once the 180 days period over. And when will he pay this 5,000 along with interest? In GST or 3B, which he will file immediately after 180 days is over. So that is what is the change, guys. Okay. Previously, this partial amount provision and all was not mentioned. Okay. Only they are given like this. Now, if any partial amount is paid, on that ITC can be claimed. No need to reverse it. Whatever is the unpaid amount, on that what is the ITC, only that you have to reverse it, guys. Yeah, chalo. You can observe this proviso was already there. Whatever I have highlighted in red color is the only change. Remaining things was already there, guys. Let us see. Provided further that where a recipient fails to pay to the supplier of goods or services or both, the amount towards the value of supply, whether wholly or partially. So previously this point was not there, wholly or partially, along with tax payable thereon within a period of 180 days from the date of issue of invoice by the supplier, he shall pay or reverse an amount equal to ITC availed in respect of such supply proportionate to the amount not paid to the supplier, along with interest payable thereon under section 50 while furnishing the return in form GST or 3B for the tax period immediately following the period of 180 days from the date of issue of invoice, guys. Clear? So means as per this change, sir, what if recipient has paid but not the full amount? Whatever is unpaid amount, on that whatever is the tax part, that is GST part, only that he has to reverse it and pay it along with the interest, guys. So when will he pay it? In GST or 3B, which he will file immediately after 180 days period is over. So interest rate is 18%, which we already discussed. Yeah. Then there is one more clarity given. It is not an amendment. What is it? Along with illustration, I will explain. So that is with respect to subsection 4, guys. Let me just clear it. Just a second. Yeah. Subsection 4. Let me just go through it. A registered person shall not be entitled to take input tax credit in respect of invoice or debit note for a supply of goods or services or both after 30th November of the following financial year, that is next year, or actual date of furnishing the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. Means this is the deadline for you to avail your credit. So this is not applicable for re-availing of the credit, guys. So with respect to this, two illustration we had already discussed in our regular class. I will just quickly go through it. This two illustration is with respect to invoice. I have added two more invoice. This is with respect to debit note. Please be careful. This we will see later. First, let us just quickly go through whatever we already done in our regular class. Invoice is dated on 31st July 2022. Okay. So annual return for 20. So invoice is related to which year? 22-23. So for that annual return is filed when? On 20th October 2023. So invoice is related to 22-23 and annual return for 22-23 is filed on 20th October and standard date is 30th November. Compare this to whichever is earlier is 20th October. So in this case, recipient will be able to claim input tax credit not later than 20th October. So even though the deadline is 20th October, you will claim input tax credit through what? GST or 3B. So any GST or 3B which you will file on or before 20th October, through that you can claim it. So can I claim it in October month GST or 3B? No, because you will file it in November. What is the deadline for you? 20th October. So on or before 20th October, whichever GST or 3B you will file, that is for September. Through that you will claim the credit with respect to all the invoices related to financial year 22-23, guys. Same. Illustration 5. A limited received invoice dated 10th April containing input tax credit of 1 lakh. A limited annual return for 22-23. So invoice is related to which year? Financial year 22-23. For that annual return is filed when? 31st August 2023, guys. Yeah. So earlier of these two dates, 30th November standard date or the actual date of filing annual return, 31st August, whichever is earlier is August. So this is the deadline for you to claim any input tax credit with respect to invoice relating to any month of the financial year 22-23, guys. Now, so on or before 31st August, which is the GST or 3B you will file, that is for July. When will you file it? On or before 20th July. Sir, on or before 20th August. Sir, can I claim it in August month return? No, because you will file it in September. By September already time would have been over. So you can see, hence A Limited will have to avail and report such input tax credit in GST 3B for the month of July 2023 to be filed on or before 20th August 20. It should be. This is 2023. Yeah, 2023. So on or before 20th August, you will file it. Even though the deadline is 31st August, on 31st August or before that, you will not file any GST 3B. You will file it for July on or before 20th August. So claim it in that only. Yes. Now, there is a two more illustration which I have added. This is with respect to debit note. So please pay attention. Sir, first of all, when debit note will be issued? Sir, I had already made a supply. I had already issued invoice, but I have issued invoice for a lesser value, sir. For example, I have issued invoice for 8 lakh, but actual supply value was 10 lakhs. So for remaining 2 lakh, I will issue debit note. Same way, sir, assume I have already made a supply. I have charged GST at 12%, but later I got to know GST was actually 18%. That means 6% less I have charged up. So for this 6% additional GST which I am supposed to charge, I will not make corrections in the invoice. I will issue debit note. Okay, so debit note is only for the tax amount or the value which I have charged less in my previous invoices. So in debit note, I have to give connection to the invoice where I have charged less amount. Now, with respect to that short amount, I am issuing debit note. Yes. A debit note dated 7th July 2021 is issued in respect of original invoice dated 16th March 2021. So, original invoice was issued in 16th March 2021. So, financial year is 2021. Okay. For that, relating to that invoice where I had made some mistake, I am issued debit note when? 7th July 2021. So, that means this is financial year 21-22. So, which financial year should I consider? 2021 or 21-22? When did I issue debit note? 21-22. So, if there is any credit with respect to the debit note which I have issued, what is the deadline for me to claim? We have to count it from financial year 21-22 and not 2021, guys. Clear? Because I am claiming input tax credit with respect to debit note now. But that debit note is connected to invoice. So, which financial year we should consider? Invoice financial year or debit note financial year? Debit note financial year. Yeah, as the invoice pertains to financial year 2021, the relevant financial year for availment of ITC in respect of said invoice in terms of section 16(4) of CGST shall be 2021. This is for invoice related credit. So if you want to claim any credit with respect to invoice, the financial should be considered as 2021. However, as the debit note has been issued in financial year 21-22, the relevant financial year for availment of ITC in respect of the said debit note shall be 21-22 in terms of section 16 subsection 4 of CGST Act. A registered person shall not be entitled to take input tax credit in respect of such debit note after 30th November of next financial year, which is 30th November 2022, or actual date of furnishing annual return for 21-22, whichever is earlier. Let me just take an example, guys. 7th July 21, I had issued invoice for 8 lakh plus 10% GST, 80,000. 8 lakh 80,000. So for me or for the recipient, this I have issued it. So for the recipient to claim input tax credit of this 80,000 for the recipient, I am the supplier, I have issued the invoice. For the recipient, what is the deadline? We have to count financial year 21-22. So it is on or before 30th November 22 or actual date of filing furnishing. Sorry, this is debit note. Just a second. Debit note date, that is. I will just change it. Invoice was issued on 16th March. Yeah, 16th March 21. This is related to financial year 2021. Okay, sir. So for the recipient, what is the deadline for him to claim credit with respect to this invoice which I have issued in March? It will be 30th November of next year or actual date of filing annual return for 2021, whichever is earlier. To claim how much credit? 80,000 credit. Next, somewhere in 17th July 21, I guess. 17th July or 7th July? 7th July. Okay. 7th July 21, I issued a debit note because I was supposed to charge 10 lakh. Now I will issue it for how much? 2 lakh plus 10% GST 20,000. So I will issue debit note for how much? 2 lakh 20,000. So to claim this credit 20,000 for the recipient, what is the deadline? Which is the financial year? Financial year is 21-22. For the invoice, it was financial year 2021, whereas for the debit note, it is 21-22. So what is the deadline for him to claim credit? 30th November of 22 or actual date of filing annual return for the financial year 21-22. That is GST or 9, whichever is earlier. This will be the deadline for the recipient to claim credit with respect to GST charged in the debit note, guys. Clear? Yes. So for the debit note, we have to consider the financial year in which debit note is issued, not the year in which invoice is issued. If you want to claim the credit with respect to the GST charged in invoice, then we have to consider the year in which invoice is issued. Yeah, second illustration. A debit note has been issued on 10th November 2020. Okay, in the financial year 2021, guys. In respect of an invoice dated 15th July 2019. So invoice year in which year? 1920. As per section 16 subsection 4, the relevant financial year for availment of input tax credit in the said debit note. So with respect to debit note, what is the deadline for me to claim? In which year the debit note is issued? 2021. So take 30th November of next year. Or actual date of furnishing annual return for 2021, whichever is earlier, guys. Clear? Yes. So this is not a more of amendment, it is just a clarification, guys. Okay. Because in the subsection 4 already debit note was mentioned. Just because you guys should not get doubt, I'm just given 2 examples and I have explained it. So the 2 examples which I had already discussed in the class, that is illustration 4 and 5, it was with respect to invoice. Now I have added 2 more illustration. This is with respect to debit note. Please go through both and be careful, guys. Yeah. Next, blocked credit, section 17, subsection 5. Under that, clause B, you come in page number 64. See, guys, if your inward supply is in the following nature, that is food and beverages, catering, beauty treatment, health services, life insurance, all this, you cannot membership of any health club or fitness centers, you cannot claim any input tax credit. But in the proviso, there is a proviso telling, provided that the input tax credit in respect of such goods or services or both shall be available, where it is obligatory for the employer to provide the same to its employees under any law for the time being in force. Means, if it is mandatory for the employer to provide any of this, for example, as per labor law, assume it is mandatory for the employer to provide lunch to its employees. In that case, whatever tax he has paid, GST has paid on the purchase of food, can he claim the credit? Yes. Same way, assume there is a law telling every employer has to provide health services or health insurance for his employees. In that case, whatever GST is paying on providing health services to its employees, he can claim the credit. Means any of this guys, means this proviso is applicable. What is the clarification here is applicable to whole section 17 subsection 5 clause B. Clause B means only these 3 items, 1, 2, 3. So if any of this inward supply, if it is mandatory or obligatory for the employer to provide to its employees under any law, then on his inward supply, employer can claim input tax credit, guys. Is that clear? Yes. So even this is like clarification given that this proviso is applicable for all the 3 items. All the 3 items. Yes, guys. So this next is chapter 5, procedural compliance under GST. With respect to registration, we already covered with. Next, come to page number 108. Shall we? Yes. Payment of tax, interest, penalty and other amounts, section 49. There is a small change. Here the interest rate, you can come to the interest point. Interest is payable when, if there is a delay in payment of GST or if there is undue or excess claim of ITC, or if there is undue or excess reduction of output tax liability, guys. So for the first case, it was 18%. For the remaining two cases, it was 24%. But now for all three cases, they have made it as 18%. 18% per annum. For all three cases, interest would be 18% per annum, guys. Please make that necessary change. Then come to electronic cash ledger in page number 110. Sir, what are the different ways of depositing the money into the electronic cash ledger? It is given in point C there. The deposit into the ledger can be made through internet banking, through authorized banks. Then the third point I'm going to, credit card, debit card, or through authorized bank, NEFT or RTGS, or over the counter through authorized banks for deposits up to 10,000 per challan per tax period by cash, check, or demand draft. So these were the modes which were available to deposit the cash into electronic cash ledger, guys. But now they have added two more. That is Unified Payment Interface or UPI from any bank, and IMPS, that is Immediate Payment Services from any bank. These are the two modes which they have added newly now. Yes. Then coming to refunds in page number 112. What is it? I will just go through. Yeah. Yes, guys. So let me go through this point. Refund of unutilized input tax credit. Sir, when can I claim? Now, assume in my electronic credit ledger, there is unutilized input tax credit. Can I claim the refund of it? Normally, no. You can carry forward it to the next tax period. But in two scenarios, you can claim a refund of unutilized input tax credit. Which are those two scenarios, sir? When my outward supply is zero rated supply, guys, that is exports, and I am making zero rated supply without payment of tax. In that case, on my inward supply, whatever tax I have paid, I am eligible to claim input tax credit. But as on my outward supply is zero rated, I am not liable to pay any tax. Can I claim the refund of unutilized ITC? Yes. Then the second scenario is inverted duty structure. Means the tax on my inward supply is more than the tax on my outward supply. For example, sir, on my outward supply, I am liable to pay tax at 18%. Whereas on my inward supply, I am paying tax at 5% or 12%. Then definitely I will have some unutilized input tax credit. Can I claim the refund of it? Yes, guys. Only in these two scenarios, you can claim the refund of unutilized input tax credit. In any other cases, if you have unutilized input tax credit in your credit ledger, you will carry forward it to the next period and use it in the next period. Now, there is a point telling, however, refund of unutilized input tax credit shall not be allowed in the following cases. Means in the following cases, you cannot claim refund. Where the goods exported out of India are subject to export duty. Means you are liable to pay export duty on your exports or zero rated supply. Or if the supplier of goods or services or both avails drawback, that is duty drawback, in respect of central tax or claims refund of integrated tax paid on such supplies. So now there is an amendment with respect to this point. First point. See, if your outward supply is export, it is called zero rated supply. So if you are not paying tax on it, then on your inward supply, you are eligible to claim ITC, you can claim a refund of the same. But here in the first point, they are telling, if your export is liable to pay tax, means on your export, you are liable to, is subject to export duty, means on your outward supply, you are liable to pay GST, sorry, export duty. Even you will be liable to pay IGST also. So if your export, which is called zero rated supply for GST purpose, if you are paying export duty on it, then you are liable to pay IGST also. So on your outward supply, you are liable to pay IGST. So if you have input tax credit, you can adjust against IGST. Instead of claiming refund, you will adjust it against IGST. This is only when you are paying a tax on your exports. Sir, what if I am not paying? Can I claim the refund of unutilized input tax credit? Yes. So with respect to point A, there is a more explanation given. What is it? We will see. The term subjected to export duty used in first proviso to section 54 subsection 3 of CGST Act 2017 means where the goods are actually leviable. Actually leviable means on your export duty is applicable, you are liable to pay it. And suffering export duty at the time of export. Therefore, goods in respect of which either nil rate is specified in second schedule of the Customs Tariff Act. Second schedule talks about the export duty rates and first schedule talks about import duty rates, guys. Yeah, or which are fully exempted from a payment of export duty by virtue of any customs notification, or which are not covered under the second schedule of the Customs Tariff Act 1975 cannot be considered to be subjected to any export duty under Customs Tariff Act 1975. Simple, guys. In this point, what they have used, where the goods are exported out of India are subjected to export duty, means on that you are liable to pay export duty. Means in addition to export duty, you will be liable to pay IGST also, because it is considered as interstate supply for GST purpose and you will be paying IGST. So on that IGST, you can utilize your input tax credit on your inward supply. So you will not be claiming any refund of unutilized input tax credit. Sir, what if my exports is exempt, or what if my export is subject to tax but at nil rate? At nil rate. In that case, can I claim the refund? Yes, guys. Okay, even if your export is at nil rate, if it is means taxed but at nil rate, it is considered as exempt supply only. So that will not fall in this criteria. If my export is exempt or nil rated, can I claim the refund of unutilized ITC? Yes, you can claim. Accordingly, it is clarified that only those goods which are actually subjected to export duty, that is on which some export duty has to be paid at the time of export, will be covered under the restrictions imposed under section 54 subsection 3 from availment of refund of accumulated ITC. Goods which are not subject to any export duty, that is which are exempt or nil, and in respect of which either nil rate is specified in second schedule of Customs Tariff Act, or which are fully exempt from payment of export duty by virtue of any customs notification, or which are not covered under second schedule to the Customs Tariff Act, would not be covered by the restriction imposed, means that will not fall in this point. Under the first proviso to section 54 subsection 3 of CGST Act for the purpose of availment of refund of accumulated ITC. Simple, guys. If my supply is outward supply is export, check whether it is subject to export duty. Yes, sir, it is subject to export duty, means I have to pay it. Export duty plus IGST I have to pay because it is interstate supply. And on that IGST, whatever I am liable to pay, I can utilize my input tax credit. So can I get a refund of unutilized ITC? No, I cannot. Next, sir, I am doing export. My outward supply is export, but it is exempt from export duty, or it is nil rate, sir. In that case, I won't be paying any tax on my exports. In that scenario, I can claim the refund of unutilized input tax credit, guys. Is that clear? Yes. Next. Application for refund and all is there. There is a few changes with respect to that also. I will just mention you. Yeah, come back to this refund of tax point. Yes, guys. As per section 54 of CGST Act 2017, any person claiming refund of any tax and interest, if any, paid on such tax or any other amount paid by him may make an application before expiry of 2 years from the relevant date. If there is any balance in electronic cash ledger or credit ledger after the payment of tax, interest, penalty, fee or any other amount payable, may claim such refund in the return furnished under section 39. Now they have told you have to make an application for refund within 2 years. This 2 years is for claiming refund from only electronic credit ledger or cash ledger also. It is only for credit ledger, guys. Sir, I have some unutilized balance in my electronic cash ledger, which I have not utilized. I had deposited more, but I have used only less. In that case, can I claim the refund of unutilized balance in cash ledger? Yes. For that, is there any time limit applicable? No. So the 2 years time given here is only to claim refund for the unutilized balance in electronic cash ledger, guys. Okay. Then just a second. Yes. So you can see here, I'm just reading this point. While seeking refund, the refund application shall be accompanied by, means you will make refund application in GST RFT 01. Yes, within 2 years. Yes, sir. That is only for refund of unutilized balance in credit ledger. Yeah. So when you are making an application for refund in GST RFD01, it has to be attached along with what and all? Documentary evidence to establish that a refund is due to the applicant. So you have to attach your documentary evidence, and evidence to establish that the amount of tax and interest, if any, paid on such tax or any other amount paid in relation to which such refund was collected from or paid by him, and the incidence of such tax and interest has not been passed on to any other person, means I have not passed it to the recipient. However, if the amount claimed is as refund is less than 2 lakh, it shall not be necessary for the applicant to furnish any documentary and other evidences, but he may file a declaration based on the documentary or other evidences available with him, certifying that the incidence of such tax and interest had not been passed on to any other person, guys. Yes, this is what was there with respect to the provisions. Now there is a clarification given with respect to this. What is it, sir? Let us see. Whether the provisions of subsection 1 of section 54 of CGST Act regarding time period within which an application for refund can be filed would be applicable in cases of refund of excess balance in cash ledger, means what we saw, 2 years. You have to make an application within 2 years. We saw here now in section 54. Is it applicable for claiming refund of unutilized balance in electronic cash ledger or only credit ledger? Only credit ledger, guys, not cash ledger. Because cash ledger is like my similar like my bank account. I have some unutilized balance there, I am withdrawing it. For that there is no deadline and all. You can see the answer. No, the provisions of section 54 subsection 1 of CGST Act regarding time period within which an application for refund can be filed would not be applicable in cases of refund of excess balance in electronic cash ledger. That is only for claiming the refund of unutilized input tax credit in credit ledger. Okay, next. Whether certification or declaration is required to be furnished along with the application for refund of excess balance in electronic cash ledger, just now I read. So this documentary evidence and evidence has to be given along with the refund application. Is it for both credit ledger balance as well as cash ledger balance, or only for credit ledger balance? Only for credit ledger balance, guys. No, furnishing of certification or declaration for not passing the incidence of tax to any other person is not required in cases of refund of excess balance in electronic cash ledger, as unjust enrichment clause is not applicable in such cases, guys. Clear? So in simple, whenever you can claim refund of unutilized input tax credit only in 2 scenarios. That is when your outward supply is zero rated on which you are not paying export duty, or in case of inverted duty structure, that is the tax rate on your inward supply is more than the tax rate on your outward supply. Only in these scenarios you can claim a refund of unutilized input tax credit. So you have to make an application within 2 years from the relevant date. Then you have to give some documentary evidence and evidence that you have not passed the tax liability to any other person, that is recipient. Whereas if you are claiming any refund of unutilized balance in electronic cash ledger, both this time limit as well as the documentary evidence, both are not required, guys. Yes. Now Aadhaar authentication is mandatory for both GST refund as well as revocation application, guys. Yes, this is all about the amendments applicable with respect to indirect tax for your December 2023 exams, guys. So do prepare well. All the best for your preparation as well as your exams. My prayers will always be with you guys. Let us meet as you guys, let me meet you with like CS executive qualification. So please give your best. Definitely you will be able to clear with a good marks, guys. Bye. See you. Take care.